on the homestead where the gardens grow.
From flour to fire
In the paddock where the wind rolls through.
to a meal made completely from our land.
True. Hands in the earth, hearts in the day, simple things in a quiet.
Hi and welcome back to Clark Family Life. Today I'm going to be making slow cooked beef cheeks. We've done one of our heifers out at the farm, so we've got those slow cooking in the oven. I'll show you how I've done them so far. And here's my sourdough. I've been really having a great time learning how to make sourdough. It's been an interesting process. The first few loaves, even though they looked amazing, were quite dense in the middle and even, I guess, a little bit doughy. So I've learnt along the way and I'm stretching and folding at the moment. So I'll show you how this loaf turns out.
Garden beds in the morning light, thyme and garlic pulled just right.
Lately I've found we've been going through a lot of flour, so I went down to the wholesalers and picked up this 12.5 kilo bag of baker's flour, and I have to say, it's made all the difference. The texture of my sourdough, the crunch of the crust, it's just so much better. There's something really satisfying about setting yourself up like this, filling a big bucket to store it, and keeping a smaller container on hand for everyday baking. It's simple, but it feels like the start of something really good.
Slow cook moments shared together through every changing season and weather. This life we've built so full, so true from our land to me and you.
For this loaf, I'm keeping it simple. I'm using about 500 grams of baker's flour and around 350 ml of water. I gently bring it together, just until all the flour is absorbed. At this stage, it's not about kneading. It's just about letting the flour and water come together. This part is called resting, or autolysis, and it's where the flour really begins to absorb the water, helping to develop the texture of the dough. I'll leave this to sit for about 30 minutes and just let time do its work.
After about 30 minutes, the dough has had time to rest, and you can already feel the difference in the texture. It's softer and a little more elastic. Now I'm adding in my sourdough starter. For this loaf, I'm using about 100 grams of starter, and then I'll add in around 10 grams of salt. I like to just work it through with my hands, gently folding and squeezing the dough until everything is fully combined. It can feel a little sticky at this stage, but that's exactly what you want. As you keep working it, you'll feel it start to come together. There's something really nice about this part. Just slowing down, using your hands, and really connecting with the process. Once it's all mixed through, the dough is ready for the next stage, and from here it's just time and gentle care that turns it into a beautiful loaf.
Morning light on the kitchen floor, floor on hands like days before, a quiet rhythm, soft and slow.
Today I'm making slow-cooked beef cheeks, using beef we've raised on our son's farm. There's something really special about cooking with food that comes from your own family. It just means a little bit more. I've trimmed the beef cheeks and I'm seasoning them simply with salt and pepper. I like to brown them first, just to build flavour and give them a really nice colour. While those are cooking, I'll start on the vegetables. Onion, garlic and carrot.
I didn't have any celery today, so I've just used capsicum from the garden instead. That's the beauty of cooking like this. You use what you have. I let everything cook down slowly so the flavours can really develop. Next, I'm adding a little tomato paste and then some red wine. You can really smell it starting to come together. The beef goes back into the pot along with some stock and fresh thyme from the garden and a bay leaf. From here, it's just time, low and slow, letting everything gently cook and soften. After a few hours, the beef becomes beautifully tender, soft enough to just fall apart. That is the kind of meal that fills the whole house, warm, rich and comforting, and one that brings everyone together.
Flavors deep and gently grow, meals that bring us all together through every season, every weather. We're living slow with a full heart, finding joy in every small part.
I've come into the garden to pick some fresh thyme to add to the beef cheek recipe. The thyme is growing really well at the moment and it smells just beautiful. I just take a few sprigs. While I'm out here, I'll show you everything else that is coming along. The eggplants are just about ready. It won't be long before we're picking those too. And the tomatoes have all come on at once, a little bit later than expected, but that's the way the garden goes. When they're ready, they're ready. I'll turn them into passata and freeze it so we can use it later on. It's such a nice way to make the most of what you grow and carry it through into future meals. Everything just seems to find its time.
From our hands to those we love, a quiet life.
The thyme goes in, along with a couple of tablespoons of tomato paste, and then I let everything come up to the boil, gently on the stove. This is where all those flavours really start to come together. Once it's bubbling away, it's ready for the oven, low and slow, for the next 6 hours at 160 degrees. And from here, thyme does most of the work. While that's cooking, I'll come back to the sourdough. Now it's time for the first of 4 stretch and folds. I'll do one every 30 minutes over the next couple of hours. It's a simple process, but it makes such a difference. I gently lift the dough and fold it over itself. Turning the bowl and repeating the same movement, you can feel the dough changing with each fold. It becomes smoother, stronger and more elastic. There's no rush with this. Just taking your time and letting the dough naturally develop. Each fold builds strength without needing to knead. And slowly it all starts to come together. By the end of the 4 folds, the dough feels completely different, soft but holding its shape and ready for the next stage. These flowers in my hallway are all from my garden: chrysanthemums, dahlias, cosmos, zinnias and roses. It's something I've really come to enjoy. Each Sunday I go out and pick fresh bunches and bring them inside to fill the house for the week ahead. With a little bit of beauty, there's something so simple about it, but it makes such a difference. Just having flowers around, a reminder of what's growing outside and bringing that feeling into the home. I added jalapenos and olives into the sourdough loaf before finishing it off, and it was just the best loaf that I've made so far. The beef cheeks were delicious, and I served them with fresh beans from the garden and mash that I'd dug potatoes earlier in the day. Thanks for joining me here this week on Clark Family Life, and I hope to see you again next week.